Hello everyone, my name is Ntanzi and welcome to the clan. So without further ado, let's get into this video. But before I get any further with the video, please smash the like button, guys. We did very well. We did get to the 1,000 likes. Guys, YouTubers are going to beg you for this every time they post a video. You must expect that YouTubers are going to ask you for the like because, guys, the like button, it is connected with the YouTube algorithm. If you're not going to like a video, the YouTube algorithm is not going to push the video to anyone else. It dies right there out of space and it never be seen again. So to keep the channel alive itself, you got to like the video. Very important. If you're just watching the channel without subscribing, do consider subscribing as well, because that's another metric that kind of like triggers the algorithm to go fetch more members of the honorable clan that are just wondering how do I get to hear about the Senzo Mewa murder trial in a way that I would understand it. Guys, this channel is not an academic research channel. This channel is not academic analysis channel or analogy channel. This is self-appointed expert commentary. We comment our opinions, we comment our observations, we comment about everything that we tend not to understand, and then we come together, put our IQs together, rub them and be like, oh, okay, now this kind of like makes sense, or that does not make sense. We discuss it. If you are looking for academic researched analogy, please go to the channels that do those sort of stuff. Here, we voice our opinions. So anyways, guys, this video is going to be a little bit different from the rest of the videos that I do on this channel. I feel like I need to cough this thing up that is sitting on my chest regarding the Senzo Mewa murder trial. Okay, guys, as you know that in the North Gauteng High Court in the Senzo Mewa murder trial, the current witness, which is Mr. Mukhani, continued with his re-examination. Actually, he even wrapped it up today because Advocate Baloyi was done with the audio recording book that he actually got a narrator to narrate about, and I was bored to death. So I was able to work while I kind of treated like an audiobook that I was listening to, a badly written audiobook that I was listening to. And I was thinking to myself, oh my goodness, the whole point of a trial within a trial, I thought it was not going to last any longer than 2 weeks. All that they were going to do was to either the confession that Ntanzi and accused number one had made are admissible or not admissible in court. I never thought that it was going to take months. How many months now since this trial within a trial has started? I think we are in our second month. I thought this process was going to be like, yeah, a week, 2 weeks, and then a decision is made, and then we get back to the main trial. And then at this point in time, I think if we were in the main trial, chances are we would be very close to the defense taking the stand with their witnesses in order for the judge to come with his final decision. That's what I thought. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. You know, I've always heard about dirty cops. But the dirty cops that I've heard about were not in real life. I never thought that any police force of any democracy would actually have dirty cops. Here we are. It's not the cop drama series that I used to watch on television. It's real life. Allegedly, South African Police Service has dirty cops. Most of them are dirty cops. And then you ask yourself, why are they dirty cops? And then you have to look at the South African crime level. It's outrageous. Yet we have a police force with very powerful position or ranking, brigadiers, commander, you have colonel, you have all of these military ranking, and you would think, man, these guys, they fight crime tooth and nail. That is why South Africa is crime free. No, they're just little decorations they have on their chest, but do nothing for the people of South Africa and take a salary at the end of the day. You ask yourself, then how are crimes solved in South Africa if our police are so inept? The ineptitude of our police is so brazen, it's so obvious. That is why the level of crimes are the way that they are. That is why criminals, you tell a criminal, I'm going to open a case against you, they laugh at you. Because the moment after you open a criminal case against a criminal, tomorrow you see them on the streets laughing at you. And you're like, what happened? You know what happened. Dirty cops. So as you guys know that the current witness, or the one that just finished wrapping up his re-examination with Advocate Baloyi, he is one of the investigators in the Ntanzi Mayor murder. And he comes from the National Cold Case Unit of the SAPS. Even that itself, like a cold case unit that none of us ever knew about. How are they, what is their job? That is one thing I would like to know. I understand what cold case mean, but what does this unit exactly do? When was it established? And how many cold cases have they solved since they were established within the SAPS? I would like to know those status, because it's important for us to understand that the cold case unit is actually the hope of so many South Africans who may have lost a loved one in a murder that they have considered will never be resolved. So exactly what do they do? Who is in charge? Okay, we know that Gininda is in charge, but what is the success rate is what I would like to know. Now, speaking of dirty cops, I know in South Africa we have IPID, IPID. I'm not quite sure what it means. I know it's something to do with independent policing, something. I will check it out. I'll write it on the screen what IPID means. And from IPID itself, the person that is in charge of IPID has publicly admitted before, during the time of the Deputy President's protection unit that was busy donor and scommering those poor people at the freeway, he said, we don't have teeth. We investigate police because the IPID is the police that polices the police, but they do not have teeth. That means even if a police officer or a dirty cop is being established that they are a dirty cop, they can't arrest that dirty cop, they can't prosecute the dirty cop, and definitely they cannot secure a conviction for the dirty cop. So it becomes a thing like, okay, we're just here to appease the public that if a police officer abuses you, or if a police officer deliberately does something that they're not supposed to be doing, then you can go to IPID and lay a complaint. The same IPID that Judge Ratha loves so much and keeps asking, was there a case open against you by the accused of assault, tubing, electrocution, and all of that stuff? And of course they're going to say no. Why they will say no? Because they know in order for the IPID to bite, they definitely would not have done what they are accused of have done to Ntanzi, that they have they have done to accused number one as well. They would not have done that if IPID had teeth, if IPID was able to arrest their own, prosecute their own, and convict them. So with that said, it makes very perfect sense why South African Police Service has dirty cops. And this, I believe, has given birth, allegedly, to the likes of Mugane, the likes of Gininda, the likes of Jonathan, the likes of Zungu, the likes of all the police officers that have taken the stand thus far in the Ntanzi Mayor murder trial. And there, you would think that South Africa having lawmakers that the taxpayers are paying for in tons of rands, they would actually do something about giving some teeth to the IPID. Because at the end of the day, this would be in the best interest of the citizens of South Africa who are under siege with all these levels of crime, with all these dirty cops. All of us, I keep saying this, all of us are sitting ducks when it comes to the South African police services. Do not be surprised one day you hear a knock on the door and on the other side is the police here to arrest you for a crime you never committed. Why? Because they want to have a good name that they have X percentage of arrests in a year. The prosecutors have X number of successful prosecutions and convictions. And the judges, they have X number of or percentages of successful convictions of people they needed to remove of the community. And chances are the majority of them are innocent of the crimes that they've been convicted for. Time and again, we hear that our police are allegedly involved in crime themselves. I can't remember which year it was where they did like a survey or some sort, and it was discovered that about 1,600 police in the South African police service were actually criminals themselves. Either they had criminal records. If they did not have criminal records, they had criminal procedures that were pending. Others were already convicted, but they were not in jail. I don't know what happened to that report and what happened thereafter. All of this is evidence as that in this so-called policing system that we have in this country, it's all hogwash. None of us are safe. They are all protecting each other. If you had to go now and open a case against another police officer, do you think that case is going to see the light of day in any magistrate court in South Africa? Let alone in a high court, let alone a conviction. That's not going to happen. You go to IPID will say, okay, we'll investigate it, but just know. That's how they operate. Just know that this is not going to go anywhere. We will file a report and probably find the police officer guilty of the accusation, but what happens thereafter, we have no power. So what's the whole point of having an IPID? What's the whole point of having police? What's the point? And South Africa is a democracy. One of the best democracies in the world, apparently. I'm telling you guys, do not be surprised someday you hear a knock on the door and then you would be arrested for the murder of AKA and his friend. All of us are sitting ducks. All of us. From what I am hearing in the Senzo Meyiwa case, it seems that there may be South African citizens that are rotting in jail for crimes they did not commit. So what we are witnessing in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial probably is the tip of the iceberg. If you had to dig a little bit deeper, you might actually come out with a lot of rot, shock. I'm sure all of us will be like, what is going on? And it's not that the government doesn't know about this. Again, we have lawmakers sitting in parliament, earning big bucks and doing absolutely nothing in the interest of South Africans. Because you would think that they would be the ones that are on top of it all hands on deck when it comes to the solving of crimes in this country. Start with the police force. When is it that the lawmakers would decide one day like, hey, let's overhaul the police. Let's investigate and start this whole thing afresh. Who knows what they might dig out? Our police force is rotten to the core, unfortunately. And it's so unfortunate that there are dedicated police officers that are committed in fighting crime in South Africa, protecting and serving the people of South Africa as they have sworn. It's a pity that now when we speak of the police force, unfortunately, they will also have to be included. And by the look of things, if you are a good cop and then you do things by the book, you will get smeared with criminal offenses that you never committed. Makubo, in case. Her name Joyce Buthelezi had to leave the police force because she realized that being a good cop is not getting you anywhere. There's a police officer just last week burned his entire police uniform and all the decorations that he had on the chest. And I was like, what's going on? It goes to show that something isn't right with the South African police service. Something completely isn't right. So it looks like from this point on, if you go do your shopping, keep your receipt. Your receipt might actually be your saving grace. If the police knock on your door and say, on this particular day you were in this area, and you'll be like, yes, I was. Woe to you. Woe to you, because they will smear you with a crime you did not commit, simply because they are inept in solving the crime. Now they're looking for somebody to take the fall. And who knows, it might be you, it might be me. Even the people that are busy defending these police officers, it might be you. Let's see how you're going to feel when you are being smeared with a crime you did not commit. Do not come to people like ourselves and say, hey guys, can you create videos and fight for me as well? We will say, well, how do you think Ntanzi was feeling when he was being smeared with a crime he did not commit? Accused number 1, accused number 3, 4, and 5. Yes, again, we know who they are. But the Senzo Meyiwa murder, no, that's not them. So I repeat, expect that door knock, and it will be the police. AKA's murder is not solved yet. Not even by a long shot. So knock knock, probably you. So just to go back to the Senzo Mayor murder trial, what happened today, what I was listening to was quite interesting, even though I was bored half of my life. But it was quite interesting that Ntanzi made accusations. Ntanzi made accusations of stops and go, and then we have an AVL. And this AVL, even as much as it does not give exact location, but the activities of the driver, switching on the engine, switching off the engine, switching on the engine, putting the engine on idle. You ask people, what does this mean? People that understand these things. Fortunately, I know some few people that work at Tracker and all of that. They said that is manipulation. They are manipulating the system. They know if they do this, what happens with the reading. So everything that I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you what the current witness has been saying on the stand regarding the engine of the Fortuner that he was driving with Ntanzi at the back. They were manipulating the reading of the AVL. Because they knew at some stage the AVL may rescue them in court when they have to testify. That is why Baloyi wanted the re-examination and bringing onto the board this AVL, which is now kind of like collaborating what Ntanzi had allegedly accused the police officers. I think even Baloyi himself is like, woof, I regret this. I regret this because it is corroborating everything that Ntanzi has said. It's just that, of course, the witness is not going to admit that when I did this to the engine, this is what was happening to Ntanzi. And when we stopped here, this is actually what had happened to Ntanzi. Make it make sense. Why would a police vehicle stop at a robot for 30 minutes? And these people have escorts, sweepers. Why would they stop for 30 minutes? Why would they stop for another 16 minutes here? Why would they stop for another? And you are like, what's going on? And then the one that just blew me away was the 2 hours. And the lies that Mabena forgot his keys as well as his memory stick in, in another police station in Soweto before they could proceed to Pukeng. The trip to Pukeng itself was telling all those speed limits that were violated. We know that, I'm telling you, those speed limits have got heartbreaks. All because they were abusing the suspect, which is Ntanzi. I think it makes sense now why Ntanzi was bleeding from the nose. Probably because he was banging his head against the seat in front of him as they were speeding and heartbreaking and doing all of these things to him. Today, I saw, Advocate Baloyi getting all excited about a stop that they made. And I thought, okay, here KFC is coming. No, it's not KFC's, but Wimpy. And I'm like, wasn't it KFC? Did they say that Ntanzi actually even was given options of KFCs that he wanted to have? Now, why do we have a takeaway of Wimpy that Mabena had ordered beforehand? That's not what we were told. But let me tell you something. Judge Ratha'S is going to be saying things that be like, oh, no, let's be fair to the witness. Let's be fair to the witness. Sometimes you would make mistake and say Wimpy when you meant KFC, or you meant KFC, but you said Wimpy. We're going to hear all of this when cross-examination of this witness is going to ensue. Ratha'S is not going to keep quiet. Ratha'S is going to remove his rope as a judge and take the rope of an advocate, and particularly a defense advocate, to the witness. Not only is he going to protect the witness, but he's also going to take Baloyi's rope and become the prosecutor. So we're expecting that in the cross-examination. Ratha'S, I felt that what this witness was talking about, understand, he should have interjected for the assistance of the court and say, I don't understand here, but he never did it. But trust and believe me, when Advocate Mgomezulu, when Advocate Mshololo, if Ngumalo and Mnise also do cross-examine this witness, you're going to hear this judge interjecting. You're going to hear this judge telling the defense to be fair to the witness. And yet this is the same witness who is an expert. And then when they are going to push this witness against the corner, that's when the Ratha'S is going to stand up and say, no, this is not a witness, an expert. This is not an expert. And yet he's the one who accepted this AVL because he considered this particular witness as an expert. We're going to hear it all. So at the end of the day, things are starting to add up. Everything that Ntanzi said is being corroborated by the AVL. And it's also very interesting that even the witness himself, he is admitting that, yes, we did take these routes. But the thing is, he's not going to admit what they were doing to Ntanzi at these stops and goes, as well as the activities of the engine, trying to manipulate the reading of the AVL. What were they doing? But of course, the Ratha'S went over his head because that is too damning to the state's case. And he will be damned if he let the state's case die once again. It's dead anyways. Why? It's dead. It never revived. They're trying to resuscitate it. It's not. Just let go, Judge Ratha. Just let go. If there's anything that I learned from Ntanzi, which kind of like reminds me of the day when I was in primary school. Remember in primary school, we were taught, I don't know if you were taught, but in my primary school, we were taught that if you were ever kidnapped, close your eyes and make sure that you feel every environmental effect as you are being taken wherever you are being taken to. Where the sun was, where the wind was blowing, probably try and find the time as well, what time of the day it was, because all of these, when you get an opportunity to get a telephone, yes, back then it was a telephone when I was in primary school, you are able to dial 08055. So it's 080555555. Those are the numbers that we were given, and we always had those numbers with us wherever we went. I think I kind of like lost them when I got to high school around grade 11. Yes, as old as I was in high school, that's when I still had those childline numbers. So they always taught us that try to see with your mind, take mind photos, and try and create a picture so that when you are able to relay where you're at, you are able to give them direction, which side the sun was facing. Was it the east? If you know your cardinal points, then you'll be able to tell, oh, the sun was here or is in the middle, wherever the case might be. The wind was blowing south or west or whatever the case was. If it was cloudy, what was the weather condition? All those sort of things we were taught when we were in primary school. Now I'm looking at Ntanzi, who remembers every detail of everything that happened to him. I don't believe that he's been to all these areas that they took him. But because he was hearing them talk, it registered in his mind that I'm being taken to Morocco. Now I'm being taken to Alberton. Now I'm being taken to Primrose. Now I'm being taken to Pretoria. Now I'm being taken here. This is the area we were at. He was taking mental photos of every place he was taken to. And the AVL is kind of like proving him right. The AVL is like, you were spot on. That is some level of intelligence as far as I'm concerned. We continue to listen to the witness, and at the point where he wrapped up his testimony, how do you think Ntanzi was feeling? How exhausted Ntanzi must have felt? Hungry? Thirsty? Smelling? Like exhausted? Scared for his life? Just wondering what's going to happen. Tell me that at this point, as a normal human being, you will not be cooked enough to take a pen and put your signature down on a false confession. Because you are no longer in your full faculties. You have not slept, rested, eaten, drank water, went to the loo, or all of those things. You will be ripe enough to take a pen and put your signature and sign to something you did not do. As we have heard from Gronier, as well as Miss Mutlaping, or I think the interpreter who said, oh, he was willing to talk. I don't think he was willing to confess. He was willing to tell them, hey guys, I've been through this. That is what he was happy to do, not to make a false confession. He thought, finally, there is a magistrate that I can tell what was happening to him. But no, that magistrate decided not to adhere to his cry. Instead, took the so-called confession and then went and told Miss Duplessis that this is what the suspect had told me. What did Miss Duplessis say? Why Miss Duplessis was never called on the stand is what I want to know. Why Mjak was never called is what I want to know. Why none of all these key people were called to the stand to testify. It's not going to work for Advocate Baloyi's favor. That is why he's not going to call him Giaco. That is why he's not going to call Duplessis. Probably that is why he's not going to call Gininda. Yes, already Advocate Mgomezulu has already made a request that Gininda be called. Uzobo mshiga to get him on the stand. Watch and see this. If there is anything I beg for, it's for Judge Ratha'S to just cut us out of our misery and make a ruling already. We know what his ruling is. He's in favor of the state. And then let's get back to the main trial. Even in the main trial, we already know what his verdict is. Guilty as charged. So please, release the taxpayers from this burden. Let Ntanzi and the rest start making plans of going to the Supreme Court of Appeal. This is for the sake of progress. Hapworth. Of course, Ratha'S is going to take this decision of guilt, despite all the facts that show that there were never intruders that entered that house on the 26th of October 2014. 6 people know the truth. 6 people need to be arrested. 6 people need to be put on the stand. And then one of them is going to tell the truth and say, listen, this is what had happened on the 26th of October 2014. No intruders that came into that house and came with a gun and demanded for money and cell phone. None. 6 people know the truth. They were with Senzo Meyiwa when he got shot and killed. One of them did. Well, those are my thoughts about the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial and all the stuff that we've been seeing going on in court. It's a joke. At this point, it's a joke. Ratha'S is a circus master, and it's not funny anymore. It's just not funny anymore. This poor boy is reliving all the trauma that he was put through by the witness. Ntanzi, when he was made to sign that confession, he was not in his right mind or sober mind. And definitely that confession was not done voluntarily. Definitely. But yeah, Advocate Baloyi enjoys the favor of the judge. So that is that, guys. If you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, thank you so much to everybody that's super thanking the channel and supporting it financially. I highly appreciate you guys so very much. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know, guys, how do you feel about the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial thus far? I'm just interested to hear what are your feelings, because what I just said here is how I feel about this whole entire trial. And also, don't forget to share this video far and wide. Do subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet, and please continue to give the video a like. Let's get to another 1,000. And also, when you're watching other YouTubers' videos, do not forget to give them the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed to them, do consider subscribing too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.